Well, hey folks, thanks for joining me. I'm just preparing for some final coating of some hemp oil onto some of my wooden spoons, and that's what that product that I'm using. It's a solvent-free, pure drying oil that's food-safe, natural oil finish that provides a protective, water-resistant surface. Use on any unfinished wood or milk painted surface. Can be used over other paints to increase luster. It penetrates to protect from the inside out. Can be used to restore the luster of old paint with one coat. Brush or rag liberally. Apply the oil after a half hour. Remove excess with rag. So that's what I'm going to be using now. And you know what? Just a couple drops, and I'm going to rub it in by hand, assuming that I can, because it's natural, completely natural. It's nothing, no solvents, no VOCs, no petrochemicals. Boy, this is so much better than using gloves, which normally I would use gloves. So if maybe you know something that I don't know that I should be using gloves, let me know, because this is one of the first times I've done that. But this is a walnut spoon that I made actually on the lathe first. And I made it on the lathe because I couldn't wait to, after learning how to carve spoons, I could not wait to try one using the lathe, because the lathe is certainly my first love as it relates to woodworking equipment. So of course, being the lathe, it's a machine to remove wood quickly and efficiently. I made it as big as I could that was reasonable, so that's the spoon that I ended up with. Here's a carved spoon. This is cherry, and this is called Shutter Blue, so I'm happy with that color too. Here's a cherry spoon. So these have already been coated a couple times, so we don't have that spectacular spot, initial pop of grain, but still it's nice to see these spoons all oiled up. There's a cherry cooking spoon. I have not counted how many spoons I have here ready to go, but I'll be busy for a while, to be honest. These are all made from the spring and summer. Here's a maple spoon that's spalted. Pretty happy with the design. It's a little bit thick here, but still, I think that'll be nice. Here's an oak with flow blue. The oak was hard to carve. This was my first oak spoon. So I'm glad she was a small one, because I don't think I would have enjoyed carving out of oak. All these woods that I've carved, they're all dry. None of here were carved wet. Only because I've been recycling an old bed for the most part. This is a cherry again, part of that bed, cherry with flow blue. I really do like that. And then I got the neck here pretty good. It's fairly thick there, and not too overwhelmingly thick there, so I'm happy with that design. So as you can imagine, carving out of dry wood has certainly made me familiar with how hard wood is, or soft, and coming across the Jenka scale. The Jenka scale is kind of interesting, isn't it? How it measures the hardness of things. in the wood, and so learning about that was really interesting. Basswood being, I think, 600. Cherry, I think, was 1100 maybe. Walnut was maybe 13 or 1400. And I could be quoting off. Here's a cherry spoon with shutter blue paint. Here's a walnut spoon. So as I mentioned, these are all as a result of some spoon carving this spring and summer. Just as I'm sure many of you too have maybe had a bit more spoon time on your hands, which hey, as far as benefits go, I'll take that benefit, right? It's like just so much fun. And for me, because I really just started to carve spoons in August last year is where I really found spoon carving. The fall was really quite fun and wonderful to carve through and try to make some spoons good enough to give away for Christmas. And I was able to do that, with being proud of some of the spoons, which is neat. I gave one to my mom and my mother-in-law and my wife, of course. And then by the time March rolled around, certainly getting better with carving. And then April, May, June, July has been great to take those times when I would normally be commuting, for instance, to carve. And in all honesty, I've certainly, well, put it this way, I was muted a couple times during some work meetings because someone may have heard some sanding going on underneath a desk. Here's a walnut spoon. This one certainly has a bit of a wow, and actually I'm going to claim it as a left-handed spoon. So you can see that there is certainly more wood on this side, and it just flows nicer to the left-hand side. So, and I've got a really good friend that is a lefty, and I think he'll appreciate that. Come to think of it, I think I have a couple of siblings that are lefties. So here's a cherry spoon. With Lockette green milk paint, and again, this is tung oil. Oh, sorry, it's milk paint, hemp oil for the finish. There's a cherry with flow blue. This is my favorite color of all the colors. I've not got into any reds. The closest red I have is a pinkish color. It's called Arabesque. I'll pull one of that color out next. So I guess these colors I'm really happy with. I really don't know. I'm not a color expert by any means, so I don't really know what colors go with what. So if you know of colors that I should definitely jump into, let me know. This is the Arabesque. It's a kind of a pinkish kind of color, and I don't know if this goes well with this cherry, or if it would go well with a walnut, for instance. Yeah, for you folks, basically you're going to see the same style of spoon again and again, because I've really kind of landed on that type of style for a baby spoon. And generally this type of spoon for my, we call them serving spoons or small cooking spoons. This one's probably too big for the mouth, I think. It's pretty wide here. I'm not sure what the magic number should be for how wide eating spoon can be. Like, what is too wide? If you know that number, I mean, this is probably 2 inches, I'm gonna guess, and I think to me that's probably too big. So if there is a magic number, please share, please, what that might be. I really do like this cherry. It was quite easy to carve, even though being dry. Sometimes I have so much grease on my hands or oil on my hands that I don't need to dab a little oil on here. I mean, this is certainly covered with oil. It really does feel nice. So, in all honesty, I've never really used these spoons yet in the kitchen, so I do have a question about their durability. I mean, it is milk paint, and it is hemp oil, so will that endure the uses of a kitchen? Like, how will it be on heat? Can you put this into boiling water? Can I use these spoons for with the milk paint for as a teaspoon? Like, if you know the answer, folks, please let me know. So I will start experimenting with these myself, but if you know the answer already, please let me know. I mean, normally I would use tongue oil as a finish. Right, so as far as heat-resistant finishes, I'm not sure if that's something that has come up before, that I recall, actually. Like, is that a concern? I should be concerned about it being... Yeah, tea in particular. Like, could I sell these or give them away as a teaspoon? Here's one you haven't seen. It's this color is called Farmhouse White. Maybe this should have been a little bit higher, perhaps. I'm not sure. Again, more of a baby spoon. So baby spoon, I could certainly see. Here's one that I embellished a little bit with some pyrography, and I'm certainly a beginner pyrographer. I can make very simple things. If you folks have any thoughts about what I could do in terms of pyrography, doing some sort of design. So sorry, it's not the best light going on here, but that's that. This is a baby walnut or a cherry with a flow blue milk paint. Again, I'm happy with that crispness there of that line. This here's called Shutter Blue. Fairly, yeah, I like the shape. Not crazy of a crank, but and more of, again, serving spoon. It's actually, from being critical of it, it's just too thin at the end here. It should have been much thicker. But that's part of the learning curve, right, for sure, of these spoon making. So in half an hour, I'll go back and I'll give these spoons a wipe. My guess is that eventually, like right now, most of them will become dry because the oil will still soak in. But my assumption is I have to stop when it no longer soaks in, when there's still oil left on top of the spoon. If you have any idea if that's true, if that's the case, let me know, please. This is a large cooking spoon. And the paint is called lusture green. So it's certainly a doozy for sure. I've got a couple of these. It was really fun to make them using the lathe. I was just so looking forward to creating a spoon and using it. And I guess one thing I didn't realize the benefit was is that when you are using it on the lathe and it's spinning, right, like this, you're going to get a symmetrical shape every time. So that's kind of a nice benefit of using the lathe. And this walnut it's just so rich when we apply the finish on that. I'm sure you folks can appreciate that, or only people that are woodworkers can appreciate that pop of grain and the richness. So after this, my intention was to put a coat of mixture of mineral wax and beeswax that I made, and that's with hopes it'll become it'll have another level of protection. So again, this is all kind of new to me. I'm not quite sure if that's the right thing to do, but I'm going to assume that a bit more protection is good. And I guess the only question I have then is if someone puts mineral wax on a surface with beeswax, and then it's sitting on there, and then they go to recoat it with an oil, will that oil seep in, or is there a way that we need to wash the mineral oil and beeswax off of the spoon before you recoat? So that's what I do not know the answer to that. If you do, please share with me the answer. So here's a lusture green with cherry. And then my last one is cherry with flow blue. And again, as you can see, the designs are all pretty much the same. Not much difference. So I will have to shake it up for sure soon to give me another challenge. That's pretty, I'm not sure, maybe not my best spoon there, but certainly has some character, doesn't it? You can't win them all. And that's, as I look at this is way too big there. So, but it's nice to experiment. Alrighty, folks, I do actually have 3 more projects here that I'll give a quick wipe to since I have this in my hand. This is a bangle that I made on the lathe. And it's nice of you to join me. Thank you. If you wanted to see some of my finished pieces, you can certainly check out my Instagram, which is Smiling Frog Wood Studio. So that's smiling _frog _wood _studio. It's been fun hanging out with you. I enjoyed it. I want to wish you a wonderful day, folks. Take care.